Tales from the Grey Side presents 13 Nights of Halloween.
Let's make it 31 Nights of Halloween instead, if your heart can stand it. Thunder crashes and lightning crackles across the skies above Providence, Rhode Island, and in a cold, lonely jail cell, a young prisoner sits deep in thought, wondering how to tell his attorney about the Shambler from the stars. It was a weird account of forbidden books of magic and fearsome creatures from the furthest stars. Frankly, the lawyer didn't believe a word of it. Will you? You've been charged with murder, Robert, and I can't help you unless you tell me everything. Sure, I'll tell you what happened, Bronson. But you won't be able to help me. No one can. I've always wanted to be a writer. A year ago I began trying, living cheaply, sending out story after story. But I failed miserably. My work was flat, lifeless. It lacked inspiration. Then I stumbled on the occult arts. I knew that was what I must write about. I read every occult book I could find. I longed to learn the songs the demons sing, to hear the voices of the olden gods. I began writing to isolated thinkers, obscure men who knew of lost magical arts and occult lore. From a reclusive scholar in Providence, I learned many things no library could reveal. I learned of strange creatures and stranger gods. He told me of blasphemous books on how to summon them, the legendary Necronomicon, the frightful Book of Ebon, the disquieting De Vermis Mysteris, or the Mysteries of the Worm. I knew if I could get my hands on some of those forbidden books, my work and my life would change. I began an interminable crusade, haunting dingy bookshops, seeking copies of these dread occult works. Then one day... Look at this! What a find! This is the book my friend in Providence told me about. Yes, De Vermis Mysteris, the Mysteries of the Worm, one of the world's rarest books of black magic. Yes, this is it, written by Ludwig Prynne in the 16th century. Prynne was an alchemist, a necromancer. He claimed to have lived for 500 years. He studied the black arts, supposedly had invisible companions and demon servants. Finally, his evil researches and blood-stained experiments caused him to be dragged off by the witch hunters. It was in a dungeon awaiting death at the stake that he wrote this evil book. I don't imagine this battered old book is worth much. Let me see, young man. I heard you gloating over it. Yes, I'm afraid this is a very rare book indeed. I'll have to charge you $200. $200? I can't... Never mind, keep your blasted book. I'll get it some other way. I couldn't sleep that night. The book haunted me. I had to have it. Had to have it. So I broke into the bookshop. Let's hope that old fool didn't hide it away. No, there it is, right on the counter. Hey, someone is coming. Who's there? Why, it's the young man who... Yes, I told you I'd get the book. At my price. I ran, clutching my prize. I was anxious to get at the secrets it held, but the book was in Latin. I couldn't read a word. I decided to take the book to my friend in Providence. He was a scholar, had studied Latin. He'd never seen a copy, so I knew he'd be happy to help me. As I knocked, I felt on the brink of strange revelations. Yes, what is it? We've corresponded, sir. I'm Robert. Yes, of course, Robert. I am most elated. I seldom have visitors. What brings you here? I've unearthed the real prize, sir. Look, a copy of De Vermis Mysteris. Indeed. I wonder if it's wise to open it. It is full of evil knowledge, and yet I feel this is a great opportunity. Join me in my study. We're poor over this antique tome. Do you think some evil will befall us if we read it? Perhaps, but it's worth the risk. Imagine what dark secrets are locked in its musty pages. Yes, secrets that only a man 500 years old could have known and preserved. You can translate it? Yes, of course, of course. Soon the knowledge of that long-dead sorcerer will be ours. It's all here in these dread pages, Robert. Yes, potent spells and enchantments. All the blasphemous lost lore of aeons past, of the gods who walked the earth. He tells us of Father Yig, Dark Han, serpent-bearded Byatis. Ah, and see here, Robert, here is a spell for summoning magical servants from the stars. I've heard enough, sir. We ought to... Stop? Oh no, we will not stop now. Not before I recite this ancient orison. This spell will bring him to us, the all-powerful servitor. A great storm suddenly grew up around us. Shouldn't we forget about... Silence! I will begin the invocation. Tibi magnum innominandum signa stellarum nigrarum. The room grew chill. A fierce wind shrieked in. Et bufaniformus satiquae sigillum. The candle died, and the strange bleating laugh began. It worked, Robert! It worked! Good Lord! It's the Shambler from the stars! Can't you control it? Stop it? Something's wrong! It won't obey me! One of its myriad tentacles fastened upon him. It crushed him in its grip as it laughed wildly. The amorphous blob became redder, and then it was over. Fortunately, the monster did not linger. I was alone with the lifeless body. The Shambler was gone, and so was the book. I knew I must burn everything, destroy every trace of its visit. Gotta get away from here. Hold it, stop right there, kid. Suddenly, I knew it was no use running. You see, Bronson, I realized I'll see the Shambler again. He will return soon, without being summoned. He will return for me. Yes, well, I'm glad you told me this, Bob. I've got a good idea now how to plead your case. Just relax and don't worry. I'm beyond worrying. It's too late for worrying. Much too late. And so it is.